Keanu Reeves had always believed in kindness, but nothing prepared him for the heartbreaking truth about his housekeeper, Maria. She arrived every day with a smile, worked tirelessly, and never asked for anything in return. But one rainy night, when Keanu decided to follow her home, he discovered something that shook him to his core. Maria had no home at all. The next morning, she walked into work expecting another ordinary day. Instead, she was about to receive the shock of her life. Welcome to the most heartwarming story you'll hear today. Hey everyone! Before we dive into this incredible real-life story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an inspiring story like this. Drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Globe showing Europe, Africa, we love hearing from our amazing viewers around the world. Now, get ready for a story that will restore your faith in humanity. When Hollywood superstar Keanu Reeves discovered a heartbreaking truth about his housekeeper, he did something truly unbelievable. Stay tuned until the end. This one will bring tears to your eyes. Keanu Reeves discovers his maid is homeless. Next day, she gets the shock of her life. Chapter 1. A kind-hearted actor. Keanu Reeves had always been different from other Hollywood celebrities. He lived modestly, gave generously, and treated everyone with kindness. But what truly set him apart was his ability to see people beyond their job titles. One such person was Maria Gonzalez, his housekeeper. She was hardworking, polite, and never asked for anything. She cleaned his house diligently and never left a speck of dust behind. Yet, something about her always made Keanu wonder. Why did she never take any food home? Why did she walk everywhere instead of taking a cab? Chapter 2. A hidden struggle. Maria had worked for Keanu for almost a year. She never missed a day, no matter how tired she looked. She smiled even when she was exhausted, never complaining. But what Keanu didn't know was that Maria had been struggling silently. Despite having a job, she was homeless. She had lost her apartment months ago when the rent became too high. Instead of using her salary for herself, she sent most of it to her daughter in Mexico, ensuring the young girl had an education and a future. Chapter 3. Following her home. One rainy evening, Keanu stood by his window and watched Maria leave. It was late, and he wondered how she would get home in such bad weather. His curiosity got the best of him, and he decided to follow her from a distance. Maria walked for miles, eventually stopping at a park. Keanu's heart clenched as he watched her pull out a small blanket and lie down on a piece of cardboard under a bridge. She was sleeping on the streets. Chapter 4. A sleepless night. Keanu returned home that night, but sleep didn't come easily. He kept thinking about Maria, lying on the cold ground, with nothing but a thin blanket to protect her from the cold. He had met many people in need, but Maria's situation hit him differently. She worked for him, yet she never once asked for help. How could he allow this to continue? By morning, he had made a decision. Chapter 5. The Confrontation. When Maria arrived for work the next day, Keanu was already waiting for her. "Maria, can we talk?" he asked. She looked surprised but nodded, wiping her hands on her apron. "Of course, Mr. Reeves." He gestured for her to sit. "Maria, I know you're homeless." Maria's face paled. "What? No, Keanu gave her a gentle look. "I saw you last night. You don't have to hide it anymore." Tears welled up in Maria's eyes, but she quickly looked away. "I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want pity." Keanu shook his head. "It's not about pity, Maria. It's about fairness. You work so hard, yet you have nowhere to sleep." Maria swallowed hard. "I send my money to my daughter. She's studying in Mexico. I want her to have a better life." Keanu nodded, his respect for her growing even more. "And what about your life, Maria? Don't you deserve safety and comfort too?" She looked down, unable to answer. Chapter 6. The first surprise. Keanu made up his mind. You're not sleeping on the streets tonight. I've booked you a hotel room. No arguments. Maria's eyes widened. Mr. Reeves, I can't. He raised a hand. You can. And you will. That evening, Keanu personally drove her to a 5-star hotel. Maria stepped inside, overwhelmed by the luxurious surroundings. She had never stayed anywhere like this before. As Keanu handed her the room key, he smiled. Rest tonight, Maria. Tomorrow, we'll talk about something even bigger. Chapter 7. A New Plan. Maria woke up feeling refreshed for the first time in months. She couldn't believe the softness of the bed, the warmth of the room, the feeling of safety. When Keanu met her for breakfast the next morning, he slid an envelope across the table. Maria opened it with trembling fingers. Inside were house keys and a document. She gasped. "What is this?" she whispered. Keanu grinned. "It's the lease to your new apartment. Fully paid for a year." Maria covered her mouth, tears spilling down her cheeks. I can't accept this." Keanu took her hand gently. "You can. And you will. You deserve it." Chapter 8. The New Home. Keanu drove Maria to her new apartment, a cozy one-bedroom place in a safe neighborhood. It was fully furnished, with a kitchen, a comfortable bed, and even a balcony with plants. Maria stepped inside, running her fingers along the furniture. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Keanu smiled. "It's yours now." She turned to him, still crying. "I don't know how to thank you." Keanu chuckled. "Just be happy, Maria. That's all I want." Chapter 9. Paying it forward. With a stable home, Maria's life changed. She started eating better, sleeping well, and smiling more. One day, she approached Keanu hesitantly. "Mr. Reeves, I want to do something." He raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" "I want to help others like me. The ones who work hard but have nowhere to go." Keanu's smile widened. "That's a wonderful idea, Maria." With his help, Maria started volunteering at shelters, bringing food to other homeless workers. She knew what it felt like to have nothing, and now she wanted to give back. Chapter 10. An Unexpected Gift. One morning, Maria arrived at work to find a small box waiting for her on the counter. Keanu gestured for her to open it. Inside was a plane ticket to Mexico. Maria gasped. "Is this?" Keanu nodded. "You haven't seen your daughter in years, Maria. It's time you do." Maria broke down in tears, hugging him tightly. "You have the biggest heart, Mr. Reeves." Chapter 11. A Joyful Reunion. A week later, Maria stepped off the plane in Mexico. Waiting for her was her daughter, now a young woman. "Mom!" the girl cried, running into Maria's arms. Maria sobbed, holding her daughter close. She had dreamed of this moment for so long, and now it was finally here, thanks to Keanu. Chapter 12. A Life Transformed. Months later, Maria returned to Los Angeles, happier than ever. She continued working for Keanu but now had stability, a home, and a future. Keanu never spoke publicly about what he did for Maria. He didn't need to. For him, true kindness was about helping others without expecting anything in return. As Maria stood in her apartment one evening, looking around with tears of gratitude, she whispered, "There are still good people in this world, and Keanu Reeves was one of them." And Keanu Reeves was one of them. Conclusion. A life forever changed. As Maria stood in her new apartment, she still couldn't believe it was real. Just days ago, she had been sleeping on a cold, hard sidewalk, wrapping herself in a thin blanket to fight against the night chill. She had accepted that struggle was her life, that she would never have the comforts most people took for granted. But now, everything was different. She ran her fingers along the wooden dining table, feeling its smooth surface. She opened the cabinets, seeing neatly arranged dishes and groceries stocked inside. She stepped onto the small balcony, where a few potted plants added warmth to the space. It was more than a home. It was hope. Maria wiped away a tear and turned to Keanu, who stood in the doorway, watching her reaction with a soft smile. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. Keanu chuckled, shaking his head. "You don't have to, Maria. Just promise me one thing." She nodded eagerly. "Anything. Promise me you'll take care of yourself. That you'll let yourself rest, eat properly, and believe that you deserve this." Maria covered her mouth as fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "I promise." The power of kindness. For Keanu, this wasn't about charity, it was about fairness. He had always believed that no one should suffer alone, especially not someone who worked so hard to care for others. Maria wasn't just a housekeeper. She was a mother, a fighter, a woman who had sacrificed everything for her daughter's future. If she had the strength to endure so much, the least he could do was give her a safe place to rest. And Maria? She wasn't going to waste this second chance. With a renewed sense of purpose, she continued working for Keanu, but now she was different. She had energy, joy, and a lightness in her step that hadn't been there before. She also began volunteering at local shelters, bringing meals and encouragement to others struggling as she once had. Keanu never spoke publicly about what he had done for Maria. He didn't need recognition. His only reward was knowing that someone's life was better because he chose to act. A final surprise. One morning, Maria arrived at work to find an envelope on the kitchen counter with her name on it. Nervously, she picked it up and opened it. Inside was a plane ticket to Mexico. Maria gasped, her hands shaking. Keanu walked in, sipping his coffee. "I figured it's been a while since you saw your daughter," he said casually, as if he had just handed her a gift card instead of a priceless reunion. Maria dropped the envelope and covered her face, sobbing. "You are too good to me, Mr. Reeves," she whispered between tears. Keanu placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Family is everything, Maria. Go see your daughter." A tearful reunion. A few days later, Maria stepped off the plane in Mexico, her heart pounding with excitement. She scanned the crowded terminal, and then, "Mama!" A young woman ran toward her, tears streaming down her face. Maria's breath caught as she saw her daughter, now a grown woman, standing before her. They embraced tightly, sobbing into each other's shoulders. It had been years since they had last hugged, years of phone calls and letters, but nothing compared to this moment. Keanu had given her more than just a home. He had given her the chance to reunite with the person she loved most in the world. A lesson for us all. This story isn't just about Keanu Reeves helping one woman. It's about the power of kindness. So many people around us are struggling in silence. They work hard, they smile, they never complain, but they carry burdens we can't see. Maria never asked for help, but that didn't mean she didn't need it. It took one person noticing, one person choosing to take action, to change her life forever. And here's the thing, we all have the power to be that one person. Maybe we can't buy someone a house, but we can offer a meal, a kind word, or even just our time. The smallest act of kindness can be life-changing. Your turn. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments, what's the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? Or share a time when you helped someone in need. Let's spread kindness together. Red Heart. Thank you for watching, and remember, kindness is free, but its impact is priceless. See you in the next story.